off the cuff. Things I'm going to talk about today is obviously first of all my purchases. It's been like 2 weeks since I last updated a video, so let's see. Here you can see I made a purchase on the 25th and on 18th. So I purchase every Tuesday, um, every week. So the thing I've been working on lately, I haven't shown up lately because one, I've been playing a lot of video games. Two, I've been hanging a lot with my grandma, speaking my mother tongue language, which is Vietnamese, with her. Um, but yeah, that's enough personal stuff. Overall, I've been working closely in making a spreadsheet to read the consolidated balance sheets and consolidated operations and all that stuff in a more objective way because through aggregative websites like I use something called Cultural Insights. It doesn't. It'll probably provide you some insight, but there's some things that are just not shown correctly. I noticed on the valuations, so I've been kind of taking up the task myself to make sure that I am fact checking those aggregated websites like Yahoo Finance, um, Webull, and all those platforms. They all have their own metrics, and what I'm doing here is essentially is kind of matching it and seeing the margin of error. Let's see how big the margin of error is between the two ways of doing things. So the things I've been focusing on is obviously checking out their cash equivalents uh over the years. This column that's bolded right now is when Ryan Cohen has joined the board. So essentially, we only have like 2 years worth of data to work with, since he became effectively on the board and taking the reins to himself. So that's that's what's going on for me. What's going on I'm doing right now in terms of GME news recently. The CFO leaving isn't too much of a surprise. To some people, this is like a huge red flag, but in reality, it has always been in the talks of them always constantly restructuring. If you haven't noticed in the language, how they're talking every single um, quarter with their quarterly reports, there's constant talks of restructuring. So we are not seeing at the end of the restructuring phase, and I can tell we're not at the end is because if you look down here, I made this one a couple either last video or two videos ago, talking about global store operations revenue per unit. Um, the reason why I'm using this kind of metric is because it's kind of like a indicator to tell me how much they're making revenue per. Why is this dividing this? Oh, right, okay. No, I was looking at total stores. But anyways, um, yeah. Anyways, so I'm using this metric to let me know like how much revenue are they pulling in per each storefront they're using, right? So obviously their all-time highs were back in 2018. But as you can see, there was a slump between 2019 to 2020. This is obviously when the operations were in decline, and then 2020 with the whole COVID thing is even further decline, and obviously ever since Ryan Cohen jumped board, during post COVID at this point, like COVID kind of dragged for like a year or two. With that being said, you can see that it has almost caught up to 2018 highs. So we're not near as financially balanced during the 2018 in terms of more footprint. But at the same time, you gotta understand that like um, there is a general contraction on the market. So if you look at things like Walmart, right? Terms of, let's see, earnings, because I use these kind of I'm doing something called relative evaluation, right? So as you can see, their revenues per quarter, has shown basically like a steady growth at the same time. And to me, this is an indicator to let me know like there is like some possibility that because of this right here, this is quarter one. So if we look back the previous quarter one, which is around here, So $141 billion versus 152 billion. So there's an increase in between year over year. Actually, yeah, I wouldn't say there's a decline at that point then, if that's the case. If there's no decline, but anyway, um, my thought process here. So again, it's a clear indicator that this company has a lot of headwinds in the way, in terms of operations and also in terms of revenue growth. So if we're talking about the high level idea of the company, right? Um, what what GameStop needs to do is bring customer value, and these are some indicators that I am expecting to see bring back to the brand, to the customer. For example, ownership with the digital assets. I think the blow up with the whole Ubisoft Uplay account deactivation, account deletion is part of the Protection Acts when it comes to your account data. I understand that a lot of these companies do these things. It's just that for some reason, there's a lot of haters for Ubisoft, so they just lit them on fire because of it. So it's not their fault. They're doing their job, right? So deleting things that are basically costing them. But that kind of tells you how much you actually own as a video game enjoyer. You don't really own your video games anymore at this point, because they can just willy nilly just delete your account because you just haven't been using it. With that being said, so again, this is more related to digital assets, but that's something as a back burner for the time being. That's something very long term. We're not going to expect that in the near term. Provide best class in-store experience. I can definitely attest to that. I have been to the Eden Center location, which is our biggest shopping center in Toronto, followed by the Mississauga location, Brantford, and Waterloo, Kitchener, Cambridge. I've been to basically 6 locations at this point, and I have never been. I never had a bad experience, and I always hear the surrounding customers that was in store every time I go in there, which is not surprising. There's always people in there saying how much they love the products there, and these are just people I don't even know, right? I'm just like listening secondhand. Well, not secondhand. I was listening, eavesdropping. Well, not eavesdropping, but they're just being loud. Okay, just people being loud and they're excited for the purchase. Okay, that's the experience right now. What I'm seeing so far is overall positive. There's a lot of different variety of merchandise for all kinds of different age groups and different niches. Uh, so so again, there's always room to improve that category. Product Provide products of monetary value by becoming the de facto best-in-class official distributor. So I think this is an important factor into their brand, is that they're basically the huge retailer for hobbies and stuff like that, and by becoming the de facto official uh, distributor of hobby unique goods is a really good thing. So, for example, the GameStop has a lot of quite a unique collaborations with their Funko Pops and stuff like that. I noticed there is a strong customer drive for those, because they like to purchase those things, and they like knowing the fact that their purchase today is meaningful in the future, because they can always either resell it or whatever reason it is. I actually do see quite a few customers asking, like, what's the next thing that will increase value, because I think collectibles has becoming a more stronger in mainstream now, whereas before it was kind of niche, right? For example, the Lord of the Rings, Magic of the Gathering recently, a Canadian one pulling out the One Ring that's like $2 million for, according to what was it, Post Malone that wants that card? I can't remember. But anyways, I digress. So so having GameStop becoming the de facto just makes the customer experience much better. So obviously the competition in that category would be like, in Canada we have something called Forbes Hobbies, which is like a hobby store which will have all these card games and stuff like that. So I want to see GameStop improve in that area, of course. Obviously, they have a de facto of becoming one of the Funko Pop distributors that I do notice. They also have a bunch of other hobby material goods, like, t-shirts and stuff like that. I think they have become kind of established at this point. If you want like some kind of anime shirt or whatever, you just go to GameStop, right? You don't need to go to anywhere else. Um, I mean, you can go online, but like some people just like to see things in person, and so GameStop has kind of like became in line. I wouldn't say they have a competitive edge over other competitors, but they're kind of in line. And then lastly is provide seamless store shopping. So this is, in my opinion, achieved, but it's also in line with competition. It has not been, I wouldn't say best in class yet. So there's always room to improve. So right now it's in line with competition, not too crazy, could be better. And the reason why I talked about these things today is I have been using this quote personally. Why is it cut off a little bit here? Um, no edits, no cuts, one take. But anyways, there isn't too much going on with me. I'm gonna put this behind the scenes here. Um, but anyways, that's just my short recap of what's happening. For anyone who is interested in contacting me, the best way to contact me is through Discord on a channel that you always will constantly see me in. It's called Moran's Rants. I'm always in his channel. I'm gonna put it in the description below and also as an end card at the end of the video. Um, yeah, you'll see me more often in his chats just because again, I don't do this full time. I just do this whenever I feel like doing it. So I'll pay you guys back by just simply making more videos, right? Or whenever available, right? So again, um, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I post a video, or that's the best way to know when I actually post a video, actually, unironically. Or you can just check on the Marant's Rants Discord, and I'll post my videos there on the video channel. Other than that, nothing too crazy going on with GameStop, of course. Um, Simply, it's just another day, just work. I'm not here to hype a particular stock. I just like to talk about what I'm interested in, invested in, what I'm vested in, essentially. Of course, and also providing actual factual numbers, right? So, for example, like the cash burn, right? They were burning a lot of cash in 2019, 2020. They kind of recovered from that, and then they obviously recovered even further. They didn't burn any cash in 2021, only because again, a lot of these things I'll start breaking down these numbers in the future in the next video. But for the time being, just keep your head cool. Um, Especially considering the weather is really hot nowadays. Yeah. And then maybe I'll eventually start looking into quarter to quarters. But for the time being, I'm gonna focus on year to year, get this thing done, and also like as you can see, like these orange numbers means are these are personal indicators that I have created myself over the years of investing, and I use these orange indicators to do a comparison with another company, with the industry. Is it in line with the industry, right? Because these numbers mean will be different. These millions, again, these are numbers in the millions, right? So depending on the size of the cap of the company, um, you can't make a apples to apples comparison, but you can make an apples to apples comparison. Is like what is their the difference of their actual operations. If you're internalizing it and comparing it to itself, you can get a good idea what it actually is. So again, I'll explain more of it. Again, orange means is my personal indicator, yellow just means the important indicator, and then gray just means that these are just facts and headers, like you don't really have to pay attention too much of. Other than that, um, yeah, so yeah, I like the stock. There's nothing much to talk about it right now, just because it's like 5 in the morning, and I'm about to go to work. But other than that, yeah, I just like the company, dude. There isn't too much to talk about. Off the top of my head right now, at least. Besides, CFO leaving, CEO leaving within the same year, not too surprising considering that they have a track record of removing CFOs year over year and changing heads over year. Like this is an indication to tell me that it's still under restructuring. People are expected to have multiple hats in their current positions in GameStop, and I'm rooting for them because like it is an incredibly hard time to restructure because remember, Ryan Gohan is trying to change a company with a legacy, uh, with a legacy that's already kind of tied it down to a particular pathway, whereas there he's trying to do transformation, which will take time. So anyone who is investing it as for like a short squeeze, or just people who are investing into whatever underlying for short squeezes is incredibly unsafe to do things. This is a, in my opinion, just a simple glance. Like, is this a good investment for you? Like, do you want to see how much cash being burned? Why is this indicator so high? What the heck? What happened to here? G5, F5. Oh wait, that's a million. Sorry, this is the actual cash burn percentage. Okay. I don't know why I dripped there for a bit. So, anyways, I thought it was like 132%. I was like, I don't remember that. So, anyways, so see, you can see that they have only burned 10% cash in the previous year. That. This is what I do. This is what I look at, right? It's like, how much did they burn cash year over year? Oh, they burned 10% cash from last year. Okay. So, for example, they burned 70% of cash from that year, right? The year 2018 to 2019. So, anyways, enough me rambling. Oh, sorry, you guys didn't see that. So, anyways, enough of me rambling. Um, other than that, uh, so yeah, GameStop can't, GameStop can't stop, won't stop. GameStop. I got a shirt from Marant's Rants. Go watch his stuff.